Hi, my name is Janine Kuby, and I'm going to be your Earth and Environmental Science teacher for this semester. Right, I've been at Wheatmore for 10 years. This is my 10th year, and I've been teaching Earth Science for about that long as well. Okay, I want to begin by just showing you how your Canvas will look for this course. All right, so when you log into Canvas, this is a home page. This should always be what it opens to. Okay, so there's my name, Janine Kuby. You do pronounce the E. All right, my email, there's a link to my email right there. And I am very good about answering back my emails. And so anytime you have a question, just email me and I will get back to you definitely within that day. I may get, even during class, I check the emails when I get a chance, and I check them frequently at home as well. So just email me. I can't promise that I'll get back like immediately, but I will get back within that day. All right, I do have fifth block planning, and so that would be more important mostly for the fully remote students when they do have a question or need to get in touch with me and want to ask me something or to get some help with their work or something like that. So it starts at 1:50 and ends at 3:20 or 3:25. Okay, so for Earth Science, there is a first block and there is a fourth block, right? And so you need to know which block you're in. And the first thing you'll do when you sign on to Canvas is come here and click on whichever block you're in. So if you're in first block, you'll click on that link, and there's where you'll do your daily attendance. So just put in your first name, last name, and if you have any questions on that day, because I do check these, of course, every day as well. Okay, and then there's the fourth block attendance. You will do the same thing and same information. Okay, in case you forget what time the class is, here it is. First block begins at 8:20. Fourth block begins at 11:30. Okay, now why that's going to be important is that this semester you're expected to attend Google Meets for the beginning of your classes, of each class. You're expected to be doing the schoolwork during that class time, right? And so each day you'll come in, take attendance, and then you'll stay on the Google Meet. And that's when I'll be going over like direct instruction for you. And then you can stay on the Google Meet and do the work, and that way you can get help if you need help with any of the work, or you can check off if you want to and finish the work on your own. The thing about attending Google Meets, the benefit for you will be that if you're not attending the Google Meets, then you're going to need to be doing another activity on the PowerPoint. So you can have you're creating more work for yourself. But if you attend the Google Meets and you're there while I'm going over direct instructions with the PowerPoints, then you don't have to do that because I know you were on here and I'll just give you, the grade from being on the Google Meet. All right, so when you want to do a lesson in Earth Science, that's right here. You just click on this week's lesson, and it will take you to a calendar for the week. All right, so if you notice this week, there's only Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and they're by the days. But if you notice, there's 3 different groups. All right, so Group A is A-Day students, and Group B are B-Day students, and Group FR are the fully remote students, the ones that will just be working fully remote. Okay, and why this is important is because when you're in class, you're not going to be working on the computers. You're going to be doing labs and hands-on activity, that type of thing, not computer work. The computer work is saved for when you're at home and you're fully remote and when you're working remotely. All right, and so they vary. So the first day, of course, everyone's remotely. So that, in that case, each lesson is going to be the same. But when we get to Thursday, and B-Day students are here, we'll go over scientific method, but we'll start working on and preparing for the lab that they're going to be doing on Friday, right? Group A would be doing everything remotely, and then when you come in the next week, that's when you'll be doing the lab for that B-Day did on Thursday and Friday. Okay, and of course, fully remote, you won't be doing the lab, but you can watch it. We'll be filming it. And you'll be, in this case of this lab, you'll be given the data. So you can watch us doing the lab. It's a Diet Coke and Mentos lab. So we'll film it for you, and you can see the explosions and stuff. But we'll give you the data of what we measure, and you'll still be responsible for writing up a lab report. Okay. The way that each lesson works, I just want to show you that. I don't have these linked up yet. We just had one day between the semesters, so I'll be working on that this evening. All right. Okay, so this is how it will work though on normal days. So you'll click on this week's lesson, and what did I want to go to? Pressure wind systems. All right, so I have set up all the lessons pretty much the same way. Okay, they always begin with a short video, like a 3-minute video, and you answer 5 to 7 questions. Okay, and then this is the PowerPoint, the explain part. Right, so remember, if you come to Google Meets, you can just listen to it in class and take your notes that way. And then there's always like an explore activity, where reinforcement activity. And then the last one, there's always a review quiz. Okay, and so just to go through this like real quick of how this works. Okay, so like I said, there's always going to be a video at the beginning, a very short video. Notice it's only 3 minutes long, 3.35 minutes long. Okay, and so you can just click on the video. Your questions are right down here. A lot of them are from the study jams, Scholastic study jams. I like them. Let's go eat. Good idea. Okay, I find they get right to the point and stuff. It's a good way to introduce the material. Okay, so as you're watching the video, you can look for the first question. When you find it, click on it. Click back on the video, find the second question, etc. Okay, and then when you're done, you would just submit the quiz. Now, after you finish that part of the lesson, the engage part, and you want to go to the second part, you can just hit on next, and it will take you to the next one. Okay, so for this one, this is going to be a PowerPoint out in Quizizz program, and you'll have a code, but you'll just click on here. If you're signed up for the class, it will take you to there. I don't have this set up right now, again, but it will be by the time you ever get to this. Okay, so you'll do that, and so it'll be a PowerPoint, and then you'll have questions as you read through the PowerPoint, simple multiple choice questions. So it lets me know that you've read the actual material. Okay, and then as I said, there's always like a reinforcement activity just to practice. So in this case, you're going to match the letters on the diagram with the wind patterns, right? And so you would be able to get this from the northern trade winds, the southern trade winds, etc. You should have gotten that through the lesson, through the PowerPoint lesson. You'll submit quiz, go to next. Come on. Okay, whatever. Okay, and then the very last part, there's usually about 4 parts to it, and they don't take that long. It doesn't take the whole hour and a half by any means to do a whole lesson for the day. Okay, but the last one's going to be a review quiz. All right, and it's always going to be 10 questions, multiple choice. All right, and it's just for you and I both to see how well you understood that concept. All right, and so you might want to go back and look at your notes and stuff, and that's fine. You can do that. I'd rather see that you're understanding that these questions are more, the earlier questions are more just recall, me to check really that you're doing your work. This is more understanding. And so you might want to look at your notes and see if you can process and put that together and answer these questions. And as I said, there's only 10. They're worth 10 points each. When you finish, you submit the quiz, and then you're done for the day. Okay, so that's how basic lessons will work. Let me go back here. All right, so back on the home page, just going through this. Here you see Okay, so if you're curious about how did I decide what information that we're going to cover, that comes from the state, and we have the North Carolina Essential Standards for Earth Science, and you'll be able to see, if you went through any of this, you'd be able to see that we're covering these topics. This is how I've determined what topics we're covering, that's what's governing it. Okay, I don't have the pacing guide linked right here, but the pacing guide is just basically to tell you like the order we'll go in. We'll probably be off pace if it's anything like first semester, say there's no days, but it would still tell us the order of what we'll go in. For instance, we'll start with scientific measurements, which is like the metric system and the scientific method, and then we'll look at space. We'll spend about 2 weeks on space. We'll spend about 2 weeks or so on the atmosphere, studying like weather and storms. And then we'll spend about a week on global climate change, a very important topic right now, something that's going on and affecting us and affecting your future and affecting your children's future. So we'll spend an entire week on that. Then we'll spend several weeks on the atmosphere, on the hydrosphere rather, on the water. This is one of my favorite topics. Before I became a teacher, I was an environmental educator with the AmeriCorps, and I taught students about Adopt a Watershed, and so we did a lot of activities with this. I visited high schools and middle schools and taught students about this outside at the creek and stuff. So I really enjoyed doing this. It led me into wanting to become a teacher. And then we won't spend that much on plate tectonics, because we want to spend more time on rocks and soils. Soils are very important, and we're losing them with erosion and stuff. And so we want to spend more time on that than we do. Plate tectonics is more just about the structure of Earth. And we want to look at more processes and how we affect them, how we are affecting the processes on Earth, and what we can do to stop that negative behaviors and do more positive behaviors. Okay, and then the last one is biosphere, and I really hope we get to spend a lot of time on that, because this we'll touch on several things that you will use in biology, but all of this you'll use in biology, this entire unit. I'm looking at the food chains, things like that, population growth, and so that will help you in biology, which is an EOC course, and which means the grade for your exam and stuff goes on your transcript. And everyone in the state takes that same exam, and so it's a way to compare students, just like your EOC, just like your EOG courses you took in middle school. All right, so biology is the big one. So I'm going to do everything I can to help you prepare for that during this class. So when you go into biology, hopefully you'll feel well prepared for it. Okay, so the last thing that's up here is our syllabus. Let's just go over that really quickly. I've already talked about all this, so we don't need to. There is a textbook. I've already, like, the information that you've got, I put it on I got from the textbook. I keep it at that level for your understanding. I don't usually have students not understanding the material as I present it. But we don't use a textbook in class. But you are welcome to take one home, check one out and take it home and use it as a reference if you want. You just need to let me know that's what you want to do. This is a science class, and so with all science classes, there's a $5 science fee that goes to cover some of our lab materials. Okay, you don't need much materials for the class. You do need either a laptop, Chromebook, or a desktop, and you need to let me know if you don't have one of those or you don't have access to the internet. I need to know that right away, as soon as possible, so that we can get you access to the internet somehow with like a hotspot or something so that you can do this work. All right, the final exam. There is a final exam. It's teacher made. It will count 25% towards the overall grade for the whole entire course. But here's the good thing about it. you get to be exempt from the exam if you have 2 or less absences. You should have understood this from first semester, or you should have learned this during first semester. So if you are logging in each day into the attendance form and you're attending classes, if you're A or B day students and you miss 2 or less, you don't have to take the exam, which means that you will get out way before Memorial Day. Okay, so that's our goal. That's one of our main goals this year. Let's try to not have to take that exam. Let's try to be exempt and keep those attendances down to 2 or less. Make sure you log on. Okay, so and just so that you know, if you are having to be quarantined or you are sick, like with COVID, that doesn't count against you on those 2 days, right? So it's only if you just don't show up on an A day. Then signing into attendance isn't going to give you, you're still going to be counted absent. If you're A or B day and you're not in your seat, you're counted absent unless you've been quarantined with the COVID. Okay. So that's final exam. A and B day students will kind of be flipping. You'll be doing the same thing, but you'll be doing it in the class, and the other group will be working remotely at the same time. Okay. As far as Wednesday Google Meets go, you're welcome to attend if you're an AB day student, but mostly you can just use that day to make up work, catch up all your work. Sometimes there'll be new lessons presented that day, but mostly just make up missing work. But for the fully remote students, I need you, it's going to be mandatory that you come to Wednesday Google Meets. It is meant for all of you. This way I can meet with you. I get to meet with the A and B day students in class, and I can talk with them, and I can catch them up, and I can, make sure they know tests are coming up or that type of thing. I need a time when I can talk to the fully remote students and just them and work one-on-one with you and help you with something you didn't understand or help you catch up on missing work. And so it is mandatory that you guys attend the Google Meets on Wednesday. Okay. That's your attendance for that day. Remember, we just want 2 or less. So to skip that exam. So be there on Wednesdays. Okay. The way that grades go by what's in PowerSchool. The grades in Canvas I'll be syncing them over, but they won't be exactly the same. For instance, say you attend a Google Meet during an A or B day, and so you don't have to do the PowerPoint lesson on that. But so I'll give you a grade, but it won't be in Canvas, right? It will just be put into PowerSchool. So Canvas and PowerSchool grades won't be exactly the same. Go by what's in PowerSchool. All right, so the way the course is set up, tests count 40%. All the tests average up and count 40% of the grade. Vocabulary quizzes are 30%, and classwork is 30%. All right, so vocabulary quizzes are going to be, you'll have about one a week or one every other week or so. And they're a good way to boost your grade because you'll have a Quizlet. Just study these 10 terms, take this vocabulary quiz, and you got an easy 100. All right, and those are counting 30% of your grade. Right now, classwork, if you do all the classwork and you do well on your on all of your vocabulary quizzes, well, that gives you 60%. That's 60% of your grade, right? And so if you say you have 100 from all that, then you've already got a 60. You've already passed the class, right? Even if you didn't even take a test, right? But of course, you're going to take the tests, and anything can help. But say you're a poor test taker, and so you only get like 50s on them or something like that. Well, it's only 40%. You're still going to pass the class as long as you're doing the work, right? So do the work, and do the best you can on the test, but don't worry about it if you're a poor test taker. I'll try to work with you and try to give you some tips on taking better tests, but we're not going to worry about the stress about the tests, okay? Already talked about attendance. Sign in, click on attendance, do that. The assignments are in Canvas. Remember, click on this week's lesson. Okay, so for missing work, if a student falls 1 week behind, they haven't done any work in 1 week, I'll be calling their parents. And hopefully you'll end up doing the work and get caught back up. If you end up falling behind again, then you're going to go on a contract. which means that your parents, you and me, will sit here on a Google Meet and go over, work up an agenda for you that you will have to bring to your parents. Your parents will have to sign. If you're fully remote, it will be by emails and Google, sharing Google Docs, but you'll be then monitored by the week. Okay. So if you want to avoid that, keep up with your work. All right, lab safety. I'll go over lab safety as we do individual labs. Different labs have different lab safety policies. Class rules, if you are A or B day students, your masks need to be worn at all times. We are still in the middle of the pandemic. Follow recommended hand washing procedures. There are sinks throughout the classroom. There's one right behind me, but there are sinks throughout the classroom, so it shouldn't be any trouble, washing your hands before you on a frequent basis, especially like before you go to lunch if you're fourth block. Okay, clean up after yourself and then be respectful and minimize disruptions to the class. Okay, so when I'm asking you to be respectful, I mean to the other classmates, your fellow classmates, to me as the teacher, and to the classroom, to any visitors that come in. Just be respectful. You know how to behave in a classroom. You're in ninth grade now, and I know you know how to behave. So just remember to try to do that. Okay. Again, contact me by email. I'm very good about getting back to students on the emails. Contact me anytime for anything, any questions that you may have, or anything I can help you with. Okay. So that's it. Looking forward to a good semester with you. All right. Bye.